I don't think there's a parent out there who could argue with this statement. Well, they might could, but they're not going to have too many grounds for winning this argument. Whatever you spend the most time with, wherever you spend the most time, whoever is speaking to your mind the most, that is who or what is controlling you. Now, parent, if you think you have the majority influence over your child's mind, and keep in mind we're going back to the state controlling the minds of our young people under Common Core, and even before Common Core, the parents weren't in control, and if the kids were in public school, and here's how I'm going to prove it to you. Well, number one, I'm going to tell you, I know from experience, because we started out in a Christian school. Both my parents taught. My dad was the principal, and we transferred to public school. There was some, issues with the church. It was an awesome church to begin with, awesome Christian school, but somehow it got to be more about the pastor's personal beliefs and the pastor trying to force people into a relationship with Christ and allowing the Holy Spirit to do the convicting. Not that he was a bad man, wonderful man. A lot of drama and junk started happening in the church that was not of God. The devil got his foothold in the door. And we ended up leaving, and we ended up in public school my 10th grade year, and I totally despised it. I love the Christian school, and I love that church. I still have a love for that church. But when we got to public school, my second brother went in middle school, and my younger brother went in his last year of elementary school, I believe 3rd grade maybe. And so he was in public school most of his life. And I doubt they'll watch this video because, at the moment they don't like me too much. But if he does, he can argue with me all he wants to. He has a totally different mindset today than I or my other brother have, because he was in that public school mentality a lot longer. That's not the complete reason. I'm not going to blame public school for all of it, but it has a lot to do with it. My mom ended up having to go to work because my dad had so many layoffs, and there was less and less influence of the parents over us once we started in public school. So I know from experience the impact public school can have. But here's the proof. There are 168 hours in a week. Alright, and we just said whatever a child spends the most time under, that's where most of the influence is going to be. We have 168 hours in a week. 40 hours are spent in public school. When they get their senior year, depending on what program they're in, it could be less. But approximately 40 hours. And if they have to stay after school and do summer school, that's even more. 14 hours a week minimum, just a minimum of 14 hours a week spent on homework. When they get home, they still have homework. About 15 hours a week spent in sports or extracurricular activities. And then, maybe an average of 10 hours a week in travel time back and forth to school and sporting events and ball games, different things like that. We're up to 89 hours a week. 56 hours, if they get 8 hours of sleep like they should, and every child needs that for health and growth and mind, the complete balance of health. They need at least 56 hours of sleep. Some get more, some get less. But let's just say, an average of 8 hours a day, 56 hours of sleep. Now we're up to 145 hours a week used. At least 21 hours is spent with their friends. Texting or, Facebook chatting or hanging out at each other's house. And I'm going to go ahead and say this, and at the risk of making some parents mad. Parents, if your kids are spending more time with their friends than they are with you, you better get your home under control. Because God did not ordain their friends to raise them. God ordained you, the parent, me, the parent, to raise our children. And we have no business letting them spend more time with their friends than with their family. So, having said that, we're up to 166 hours. How much time did we say was in a week? 168. But we've now used up 166 hours in this week. And the biggest bulk of that was sleeping, if they're getting the right amount of sleep, and school. This means the government controls the minds of our young people. And we didn't even cover if they spend more time with friends. We didn't cover bath time and chore time. If kids are given chores at home, that seems to be a foreign concept these days. But that's not even if they have a job, if they're a teenager and they have an outside job. So let's say parents have 2 hours, not taking into account those few things we didn't cover. At the most, parents have 2 hours, maybe 3 or 4 if they drive their kids back and forth to school, in which to influence their mind and be the deciding factor for the worldview that their child develops. Now, that proves the accuracy of that statement. The state controls the mind of our young people. And under Common Core, that's a dangerous thing.